Hello all! Today I'm weaving a merino and cashmere wool scarf with a combination of thrifted and donated yarn and sharing some recent cute moments with the cats of Hawksong Weaving. I hope you enjoy. My name is Took. I'm a disabled genderqueer weaver who's had life take odd turns, but who knows that even tattered and worn yarn still has value, and that tired joints and health flares don't have to stop the journey. I weave exclusively with secondhand fibers, aided with adaptive warping, HR and OSHA cats, and a wonderful found family. Welcome to Hawksong Weaving, where all our paths are a little bit warped. First, a bit of an explanation on why I've developed this adaptive warping method. I have hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which has cascaded into postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. So for time's sake, know that I have joints that don't work, and if I shift positions too quickly, I get pre-syncope or pre-fainting symptoms. All of this comes with chronic pain, so for a lot of reasons, a traditional warping board doesn't work for me, along with being really expensive and taking up a lot of space in my small studio. So I use an accordion coat rack as my warping board. It's nice and neat, it contracts into a nice smaller space, and I can adjust it as I need to. And I don't need to be up and down and all around having tachycardia, a racing heart, that stresses out my medical alert cat Penelope Calico. She is not actually a trained medical alert cat, she is just a calico with extreme tortitude who has opinions about my heart rate, that she is happy to scream at me and tattle on me to my partners. I love her so much, but I'm never getting another calico ever again. It's like having a border collie for a cat, and she has decided, not incorrectly, that I am a particularly dumb sheep. This loom is a 15-inch wide shocked cricket loom. It's a rigid heddle loom, and I love it so much. It's birch, it's very sturdy, it can take a beating, but it's light enough that I can lift it even when I'm having a pain or fatigue day. It's also one of the cheapest looms in the market, averaging around $250 at the time of filming, but you can find them on sale fairly regularly. This particular warping method is overall called a direct warping method. I have received confirmation from a follower that if you just put your warping board directly in front of your loom, you can also do a direct warping. So if you have a warping board, I recommend trying that out. If not, these accordion coat racks are super cheap and you can find them pretty much everywhere. I'm skipping ahead a bit so that this video doesn't drag, but for reference, that process took about 15 minutes all told. If you're trying out this method and it takes longer, please don't worry. I've been doing this process about once to twice a day for years, and my muscle memory has it down. With the warp threads sorted, I'm lifting up the loom to release the warping board from the loom, gathering the warp threads into one large bundle, and using the back of my neck to drape them over and keep them tidy and out of the way while I collapse the warping board into its smaller space. I use terry cloth towels to cushion the warp threads. This helps the finished weaving from being tighter at the ends and looser in the middle, creating a sort of sausage profile in the weaving. They also have more grip than the traditional cardstock, which I find difficult to use because it tends to slide all over the place. Every other week or so, I'll wash and dry the terry cloth towels, as the pressure from how tight I prefer my warp to be can flatten them over time and make them less effective at cushioning the warp threads. I recently realized after 3 years of weaving with this method that cutting the warp loops in one or a few sections go is a lot easier than the previous way that had me cutting the warp loops at the end of winding the warp. This is so much simpler and also decreases the amount I need to trim at the end of the weaving. The scrap yarn will get used for stuffing for other projects, like the scented scrappy sachets that are some of my best sellers. This helps keep everything for Hawksong Weaving zero waste. This isn't the best angle, but you can see that I'm being careful to pay attention to how the warp threads are laying on the back bar of the loom. The right-hand thread goes through the smaller hole in the rigid heddle reed. It's not critical, and some minor mistakes aren't the end of the world, but it does make it easier to keep the tension of the warp threads even across the entire weaving. I'd like to thank you for watching. If you'd like to support my work, some free ways to do that are to like, subscribe, or follow, and share. This applies to other small artists as well. It's a great way to let the social media algorithms know that this is content worth watching. If you'd like to support me financially, there's a Buy Me a Coffee linked below, which acts as sort of a tip jar. I also now have YouTube memberships fully set up. This gets you access to videos as soon as I post them, rather than on the schedule of parallel resting videos on Tuesdays and project or unboxing videos on Fridays. Everyone gets the shorts at the same time because I need that dopamine hit. Also, now that there are so many of you absolutely fantastic and wonderful subscribers, you self-proclaimed fandom of yarn brats, I've been able to link the online Hawksong Weaving shop, so feel free to check out the unique handwoven products. This next bit is absolutely a joke, but just in case in this economy I won't say no. For $1,000 a month, you can tell me that I'm not actually disabled, I'm just lazy, and to try whatever yoga, juice, cleanse, snake oil nonsense fixed your cousin. Feel free to message me and I'll get you my payment details. I take Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, and check for this nonsense because YouTube wouldn't let me set up this membership tier as a joke. Feel free to mail the check or, more likely, donations of yarn, buttons, etc. to the P.O Box listed down below. After many requests from the yarn brats and a firm talking to from my partners and therapist, I'm also now accepting physical donations of items that will improve my life. There's a list on the Hawksong Weaving website. If by chance duplicates are sent of an item, I'll make sure to get that item to other disabled genderqueer artists in my community. There are a lot of us around Northampton, Massachusetts, so nothing will go to waste. I originally wasn't going to accept this type of donation, but as the yarn was helping me do my work and make content, but as my therapist pointed out, I can't make content without a functional body, and items on the wish list will help with that. Please do not gift anything if your finances are under strain. Take care of yourself first. Now attaching the warp threads to the bottom apron bar, it's pretty easy. I finger comb it, get it separated into bits about 4 to 5 warp threads wide, separate these bits into 2, and then do a half hitch tie to the apron bar. Now getting the next terry cloth towel in place, and because I prefer a fairly high tension, I'm tightening up the warp. If your fingertips are hypermobile like mine, please be careful when doing this, as the pressure can bend them backwards, and that is hashtag not comfortable. And now for the actual weaving. This warp is a merino wool blend, and the weft is a cashmere blend in an almost identical color, which I'm absolutely loving because they go so well together. This scarf is available on the online Hawksong Weaving shop as of my voiceover and editing of this video, but I don't know if it will stay there long because it's so soft. The fresh green of this is reminding me of the new shoots of growth after a willow tree is trimmed back. It's full of recovering and growing past trauma and learning to be gentle and soft with yourself again. Some tips and tricks for getting even selvages. When you're first learning to weave, practice these consciously for the first bit of a weaving session. The shuttle goes through and is pulled at a 45-degree angle while pinching at the point of the corner of the selvage. This allows for the weft to have enough space to settle in between the warp and creates a tight turn at the selvage. In order to keep this 45-degree angle in the narrow space of a rigid heddle, you're going to need to wind your warp weaving down regularly. Selvages are one of the things that I'm complimented on from other weavers when they see my work at art markets, so these tips and tricks do work. And of course, there is a very persistent Hades himbo in the background who is gently batting at me and being like, "Papa, it is time for snuggles. Give me cuddles." I love that cat an almost indecent amount. He has kept me on this planet so many times, and he is just my sweet, sweet boy, and I would not be here without him, and that is unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, not an exaggeration, and he is just being so, so stubborn and so, so sweet. Oh, I love this cat so much. He and Penelope Calico had a very soft and gentle moment the other day that ended up turning into some playtime. He will submissive groom her, and she will dominance groom him, and she will then beat him up when she gets overstimulated and tired of being groomed, and it's just a dynamic that works really, really well for them. And all done with the weaving, and now tying off the scarf fringes. I prefer to do a 2x2 warp tied into a fringe of 4, but I will do a double sliding knot of 3 if I don't have a wide enough warp. It was so much fun weaving with this. It turned out so soft and green and vibrant, and just, I'm so incredibly, incredibly lucky and blessed to be able to work with the quality of yarn that I work with on a regular basis. Being able to get the amount of free cashmere that I get on a regular, free or very heavily discounted at a secondhand situation, cashmere is not something I ever take for granted, and I love being able to offer these products at a fairly affordable price. Unrolling and getting the first glimpse of this fully finished product, and, well, not finished, I still need to steam block this, but oh, it turned out so well. Getting some of the extra of that weft removed, and here we go. First glimpse of this. Oh, it just pops. Oh, it's so soft and lovely. Yay. Before I steam block, I eyeball the length of the fringe that I want and use the "don't ask me how much I spent on these good shears" and trim it. Then, usually about 20 to 30 minutes of tying the fringe knots. This step isn't critical for a lot of yarns, but I like it as it creates a more polished, finished look for the scarf and allows people to wear things without things unraveling. Now on to steam blocking. I steam block my wool blend scarves. This helps the wool fibers to soften into each other and relax into the weave. Without blocking, you can get sort of tension wrinkles because the weave tends to be stiff without the added heat and water. Sort of how your back gets when you've been sitting in a not great position for too long, and a boiling hot shower can take care of the knots. Honestly, for me with my particular disabilities, this is my least favorite part of this weaving process, and I avoid it when I can just because it's a lot of on my feet, and the steam makes my postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome not so happy, but it is absolutely worth it for the softness and just the drape of the finished seam block product. Thank you for coming along as I wove this green growth scarf. I'm so glad for the odd turn that your path took that brought you here. Thank you for spending time with me at Hawksong Weaving, where we're all a bit warped, and I hope that you have a truly excellent week. And remember, we all deserve softness and kindness from ourselves and others.